What is the strangest pet you've had?
Had a catfish.
I had a tadpole. Yeah.
Okay, and they didn't kill anyone, right? They were
The
that you know of.
catfish ate all the other fish.
Hey everyone, it's David Stark from Watcher Pass. Today I'm joined by Cady Lanigan and Brad Fowler of Slotherhouse, which is coming for one night only on August 30th, 2023. I'm going to talk to them right now. And while you're watching, if you can like and subscribe to this channel, that would be fantastic. I'll spread a lot. Thank you. So, thanks so much for joining me. Today I've got Cady Lanigan and Brad Fowler, the co-writers, producers, and stars of Slotherhouse, which is coming for one night only in theaters on August 30th, 2023. It is a ridiculous, over-the-top kind of horror creature feature that has just this great energy, a host of characters, and a killer sloth. What else is not to like? We might have a special guest right here. Oh god! Oh my god! There we go. That's kind of what you get from the movie. So thanks so much for joining me. Excited to talk about it. And the first question is why? Why?
Right, that's probably the only real question.
That matters.
Yeah.
Why did you?
Like what was the inspiration for this? Are either of you sloth people? Did you just like the pun and just kind of built it off of that? Like what was the inspiration for this movie?
We're big pun people, that's for sure. And we've been making like sloth pun jokes for a very long time and enjoying them very much. But Brad, why don't you kick us off on just like how we got to where the why was?
But don't go too slowly. I have a limited amount of time. Yeah?
We are here for the dad jokes. No, it's I mean, really, Cady and I, we'd been producing other stuff, and Cady had been producing a lot of serious stuff, and I jumped around from
actual murder and killing and kidnapping.
Yeah, that's way more serious.
Real.
I did
go ahead,
I did some documentary series stuff, but sorry, go ahead, Brad. It's just funny. Go ahead.
No, but it was a lot of real life stuff dealing with real emotion, and then I'm always diving into writing horror stuff, and then I jump between like doing horror stuff, romance, and comedy. It's a strange combination, and we met up for a coffee one time, and just the idea came up, and we just started laughing our heads off because it is a stupid idea. But horror is a great place for stupid ideas. It's like one of the few genre spaces where you can really let yourself go and go crazy. And then even if an idea is ridiculous, it can still turn out to be awesome. I mean, you think about Chucky, the beginning of Chucky, it's like Chucky's like a doll. It just comes to life and it's chasing you. Like, what's it going to do? It sounds ridiculous. And would Chucky exist if it wasn't for the popularity of Cabbage Patch Kids? I don't know at the time, but it's like crazy ideas play in the horror world. The Leprechaun, so many silly things, and I think that's sort of where it began.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think me and Brad were both at our points in our careers where we were just kind of wanted to surrender to something that sounded fun. Like we'd been working in the industry a really long time, producing, writing a lot of stuff, and we were kind of just at a point where we're like, this sounds fun. And I was going back to Chicago to finish up or start, I should say, my MBA program to get my master's degree. And me and Brad had been longtime friends and creative partners. We worked on other stuff producing before. And you're like, why the hell not? Like, this needs to happen. People need to see a killer sloth movie. So that's kind of how it all began.
Why the hell not? That should have been one of the taglines. I also liked, one of your statements, stupid ideas belong in horror, and also fraternity houses. That could have also been another a great tagline. So
Alpha might end up in a fraternity very soon.
Yeah. I mean, I think it definitely has a good frat feel. I did like the kind of ridiculous fraternity feel in this movie. Did either of you do any like research into Greek life? Were either of you Greek in college?
I was in a fraternity for a short period of time in college. I also played football, so one sort of I didn't have time to do both. My drinking life got in the way of my football, so I had to make a choice.
Sounds like you're a quitter. That's what it sounds like to me.
Exactly. So yeah, no, it started there, and then then we did our research into sororities, and Cady's, I don't think you were in one, but you had some friends that were.
I'd never been in a sorority or fraternity for that matter. But I definitely had friends that were. So, we just started to dive into research and kind of figure out, how to bring it to life in the best way possible.
You
Yeah,
just
and
started
we
going to like college parties and hanging
At a
out,
party.
and like, no, this is research. This is not
Yeah.
creepy. This is just me researching. So yeah.
well, and part of it, honestly, too, it's like we wanted to. I love Animal House. I love that. Like every time there's a sorority or fraternity movie, there has to be that type of character. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So it's like I didn't want to be like, oh, it's sorority, it's all prissy. It's like they needed to have really unique, fun, wild characters that were still grounded in motivations. But yeah, it's like I don't want sort of the crazy characters to be reserved only for frats. We wanted to threaten the sororities too.
Yeah, there you go. And Animal House, another good name for this movie. That's a it kind of fits.
Dude, you are crushing it on the dad jokes. We need to bring you on for the next one.
I've got years of experience, right? It's just ingrained in me.
Yeah.
You know, going with those characters, I liked how they were all like very different, very kind of like unique, but they all kind of fit together. It actually kind of felt like my fraternity. My fraternity had a bunch of very odd people that all kind of fit together very well in this strange amalgamation. Did you base these characters on anyone that you knew, like any like as a starting point, or were they all just kind of in your head as various horror tropes and or sorority tropes? Nope. All from your crazy world. Okay.
Well, it all starts with the, you know, in my opinion, writing is it's structure. So it's like, okay, well, what's the thematic premise? You know, what's your main character and their motivations? What are, you know, what's standing in their way? And then obviously then what's the genre that you're dealing with, and what are certain tropes that seem to be effective that we'd like to put into the soup, and which ones do we want to leave out? And from there, that's where the voices got built. And then, you know, there's certain things too where Cady's like, you know, this character, maybe we could make this one a little bit more humorous, maybe make this one have a stronger relationship with you know, Brianna, the sort of queen bee, and that's sort of how it developed from there. As far as I remember, it's been a long time.
Yeah. So we've been working on it 7 years, or we
Oh, wow.
started the first initial draft of the first script was 7 years, and that was like a 2.5 journey, just like tweaking the script. And really up until even shooting, we were tweaking the script. I mean, that's just kind of how it goes. But
That's a long time. If you were in college, that'd be a master's program, right? Or maybe even like a light PhD program for 7 years. That's a lot of time to working on this one script. But you know what? It makes sense. I'm glad you stuck with it. I'm glad you kind of kept going at it, because it does feel like a very different movie and very kind of like fun, energetic film to add to like the horror genre. So
we also thought maybe there's already enough superhero movies, you know, like maybe we don't need to make another superhero movie. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Well, I mean, box office results seem to kind of go with that as well. So
no, we just thought it would be fun. It's a movie we wanted to see. We wanted to create together. We were friends. We'd worked on stuff before, and it was just one of those things where yeah, we do love sloths. Like, we're big sloth lovers, you know. It's sloth girl summer right now. Everyone's moving into the sloth world. So that's kind of fun too. Brad would like actually to have a pet sloth. I don't know if that's gonna happen, but
I would like to, but then it would ironically go against the premise of our movie, and then I'm sure I'd get called out. But also my wife won't let me. So there's that.
Both of those are valid. I don't know which is the stronger reasoning, but I'm going to guess it's probably the latter.
Yeah, I know exactly which one is the stronger.
That would be so fetch though to have a pet sloth, right?
It would be so good. But my daughter is now horrified of sloths because she's 5, so her entire life I've been doing this, and to her, sloths are vengeful killing machines.
Well, you know, it's good for her to have a healthy fear of wild animals. Like, you know, it's got to have something weird that's good. You know, being horrified of sloth because of her dad, that'll be a good story later on, and also a good story for the therapy in the future. So
it's gotta be.
So I loved how the sloth was kind of a prosthetic puppet. I assume you always had that in mind. Did you ever have any other thoughts? Like, I don't know if you can get a live sloth. Did you ever have thoughts of getting a live sloth, or?
You know, we never thought of getting a live sloth. I think that was always off the table just because there's so many requirements. And we also do, like, me and Brad, like one of the big thematic premises of this movie is like, be aware of Mother Nature, because, you know, at the end, you'll see how sometimes the things that you try to mess with in Mother Nature will always come back, sort of that thematic premise. Mm-hmm. So, you know, me and Brad, we never imagined doing this with a real sloth, and also it would make it very hard to do that. But we were going around with the ideas of like, do we do this just straight VFX? Do we do this in a more practical way? I'm a big lover of puppets. I've worked with puppets in the past prior to this movie, and I grew up. One of my uncles is Dan Lanigan, he's a huge practical effects guru and a prop collector, and so I just grew up around all these like quirky, cool, like amazing cinematic effects relationships. Sorry, guys, and people in that world. And so me and Brad both definitely wanted to lean into that. And we grew up with movies like Gremlins and, dinosaurs and Lamb Chop and all these like amazing movies that for us really shaped our childhood and our cinematic experience. So we wanted to bring some of that magic to life because there's something about it that just feels more real,
Yep.
And so we were really excited to be able to bring that to the audience as well.
It certainly was infinitely harder. As much as I love practical effects, this is where I got to give Cady credit on this too, because there was a healthy debate as to how we would do this, and as much as I love practical effects, I was very concerned because of again, without giving away too much, we're not one of those creature features where we hint at the creature and you only see it at the very end of the movie. Like this, It's in the whole movie. And I don't think that's giving away anything. It's just, I think that's a good thing. But that's also an incredible challenge when it comes to working with puppets. VFX, we could have had an asset built out and it would have been much easier to execute some of the things we were asking it to do.
Absolutely.
But it would not have looked very good. Like I love that it was a puppet. It kind of helped with the ridiculousness and also looked a lot better.
Yeah.
So you are both actors as well, and I noticed that you both had roles in this film. Was that always the case? Did you always kind of envision these roles for you, or was that more of just like, hey, we're an indie film, I'll take that role and not get paid, and take that out of the budget and not get paid for it? Like, what was the reasoning for you both playing characters in this film?
Well, Brad, I don't know if you want to start or not.
I'm gonna jump in when you're done, but yeah.
one of our actors got COVID. So I was like, I'll jump in. And also I was always planning to have a cameo. Both me and Brad were always planning to have a cameo, but my cameo, because we had to do some creative rewrites with availability and stuff, I just did a couple more lines and things like that. But me and Brad, we met as actors in an acting class like years ago. And so, through and through, like we are storytellers, and whether we're telling a story as a writer, a creator, a producer, as an actor, we love to tell stories. But that being said, it made it infinitely harder because, at least for me, I was like going a little nuts when, you had to be on set and then also be in charge of other things happening. So it was more just for funsies. But Brad, I'll let you jump in. I know you have maybe a different.
Well, I will say, like, originally, like, acting is my absolute first love. Absolutely. It is. I love it like breathing. Originally, there was a character that was written in the film that was a pretty substantial character. And that character got completely taken out of the movie, like maybe a month before we started shooting. We were in Serbia and we were facing some production challenges. And it's like something had to go to make the narrative work with the way that we wanted to shoot it. Yeah. With the limitations of everything. And it was like, it broke my heart, but I was like, I'm out. I'm cutting myself out. And Cady, I talked to her, she like gave me a big hug. Like I'm almost in tears. I'm like, I really, really wanted it. But I'm actually so glad that I wasn't, because I didn't realize how much weight I had gained in the months leading up to the movie until I saw myself in the cameo. And I was like, oh, that wouldn't have worked.
Oh. Well, so, and also you were kind of the first victim of the movie, so you were kind of in the movie that way, right? Like they killed your character off before the screen.
David, you're full of jokes.
I try to keep it fun and high energy. So man. I know we have limited time. I call it the lightning round. They're just very short questions. I want to see how your experience relate to things in the film. You can feel free to pass on them. I won't be offended, but I try to keep them very answerable. The first question: how many followers do you have?
In real life or on?
Yeah, the social media is a huge part of this film. What are your socials like?
I don't even think I know my number count, but I'm 100 or maybe 2. Yeah.
So Brianna wouldn't even give either of you the time of day.
No, she definitely wouldn't. Maybe
Brad's dad, so I don't know how much.
If it was 2004, maybe, I don't know. Yeah, Well, Alpha the Killer Sloth is starting to get a following.
Oh, nice.
She's got her handles on all of the major, things. It's under Alpha the Killer Sloth.
Very nice. All right. Well, yeah, you can
We'll
live
be-
vicariously through Alpha.
Exactly.
Can either of you recite the Greek alphabet?
No. Go ahead.
But I
No.
love Greek food.
Okay.
Unrelated.
Well, that is a good follow up. What is your favorite creature feature? Other than Slotherhouse, obviously.
Gremlins.
Gremlins.
Yeah. Gremlins touched my heart at a young age.
Hopefully with consent, but
Yes.
what is the craziest thing you've done for social media?
Boy, we're striking out. I don't really.
That's okay.
I've done a lot of crazy things. I haven't done them for social media.
I haven't done them for social media, but I could balance a beer on my head. I don't know if
that's a great skill.
So,
That is a great skill. And the very last question before we wrap is, what is the strangest pet you've had?
Had a catfish.
I had a tadpole. Yeah.
Okay. And they didn't kill anyone, right? They were
The
that you know
catfish
of.
ate all the other fish
Okay.
and a
Oh,
frog.
there you go. That's a precursor for this.
No, we can't do that.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time. This is Cady Lanigan and Brad Fowler, co-writers, producers, and stars of Slotherhouse. It's coming for one night only in theaters on August 30th, 2023. Definitely check it out in theaters. It will be a fun experience with all those people. It is a ridiculous creature feature that has this great energy, a fun cast, and some big twists along the way. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you, David. Really appreciate it.
David.
Rita, thank you. That was Cady Lanigan and Brad Fowler of Slotherhouse, which is coming to theaters on August 30th, 2023 for one night only. It is a ridiculous horror comedy creature feature that has this fantastic energy, a very interesting cast of characters, and a killer sloth. What's not to like? If you liked this interview, please like and subscribe to this channel. It helps me out a lot. Make sure all my new content goes straight to you. Thank you.
Thank you.